Hello everyone and welcome to another devlog where today I'll be showing off one of the biggest 1.16.5 features, which is the labyrinth. Now we are here in front of the spirit tree, and as you may be able to see, it is quite massive. Now today I'm going to show off the spirit labyrinth as well as a few other minor features, such as, of course, spirits, naming. Once you enter, you will find that the labyrinth in and of itself is a massive structure now, many times bigger than it was in the previous mod. Now, I'm gonna be talking about my skills that I will be using against the Spirit Labyrinth Protector, which, as you might know from the anime, is this very big purple mech called the Spirit Colossus Protector. Now, my first skill that I have is called Gravity Field, and it has two different modes. The first one is called Self Radius, and what it does is it just allows me to buff myself, give myself haste, as well as feather falling so I don't take as much damage. My second skill, and the only unique I'll be using today, is called Suppressor, and it has three very different and very cool features, the first of which is called Swap. It basically allows you to swap against an entity that you are looking at, so you just swap your locations. It's a very simple skill, to be honest. The second mode is called Spatial Motion, which allows you to teleport in any one direction where you're looking at with a cooldown of 5 seconds or 3 with Mastery. Third mode is called Spatial Suppression, which allows you as the user to block others from teleporting near you. So it's useful if you're fighting an enemy who has teleportation and they can just spam teleportation around you. And the third skill I have is called Steel Strength, and it just allows me to have some more damage. Now, the weapon that I'm using is called a Blade Tiger Scythe, and it's a scythe made from the blade of one of Tensura Reincarnated's newest mobs, which is a Blade Tiger. And I believe that with all of that in mind, we can now finally begin. So first off, I'm going to cast the Self-Radius spell on me again. The Elemental Colossus is now waiting for me to attack first, which I will do after setting up a Gravity Field. The Gravity Field will keep me somewhat safe by allowing me to move normally while slowing down my enemy, which is the Elemental Colossus, who is beating my ass right now. I feel like I'm dealing 0 damage to it. Now, there are two ways to get past this fight and to go on to the Spirit Shrine. The first is to win. For that, you get a cool little item, which is a Spirit Core as well as a block of pure Magisteel, which you can then use to craft weapons or items. But the other option is for you to die, well, quote-unquote die. I was about to die, and then the Spirit Queen, Ramirez, saved me and sent me in front of the arena. Now I can enter again and try to fight it again, but if I die, the same thing is gonna happen. I say die, but it's not really dying. It's losing. Now this is a work in progress part. It hasn't been added to the schematic yet, but it's basically going to be a bunch of different smaller rooms. I will not say too much about it, except for the fact that it's going to be cool. If you go forward here, you can exit the labyrinth. If you are no longer interested in being here, this is the way to go out. Now, on we go to this massive crystal. Great, and with that, we have answered another question, which is, Borniuus, what happens if I fall down? If you fall down on any of these, in any of these wide spaces, you're not going to die, but rather you will just get teleported back to this position. Now, I'm gonna teleport next to the Elemental Colossus because I don't feel like fighting him again. And here we can see this massive crystal, which has been beautifully built by our builders. The stairs still have some work to do, as you can see, some parts are very some parts are very crude, I would say. Then you get to the praying platform, and here you don't have to do anything except for, you just have to crouch, really. And then if you look up, you will see this massive congregation of spirits who are all trying to see what to do with you. Now, what happened here is that I have been chosen as a potential hero. And basically, there's a 5% chance of you becoming a potential hero, which is called a blessed status, quote unquote. There's a 5% chance of that happening every time you create a new character or you reset. And the way spirits work is also quite interesting. You have a 5% chance to get each lesser elemental, so those being space, earth, water, wind, and fire. You also have a 2% chance each at a medium elemental and a 0.5% chance at a greater elemental. And then, if you gain a medium or a greater elemental, by further praying, you have a 0.1% chance to get an elemental lord. And for every one of these upgrades, you get bonuses, which I will not mention yet, but they are quite important, and they will be shown off at a later point. See, now I've been chosen by a lesser spirit of darkness, and the reason why I didn't get the Spirit of Darkness as I was getting my hero status, due to the fact that you either get a light spirit or a darkness spirit. You don't get both at the same time, regardless of what happens. You can get it at different times, like what happened to me now, but additionally, a thing to note is that once you get an elemental of any sort, you gain the ability to learn the manipulation skill of that element. So for a fire spirit, you gain the ability to learn a fire manipulation skill, etc, etc. Now, we will be skipping to the next segment, where I will be showing you how the naming system works. So I will see you there soon. So in this segment of the devlog, I will be showing you guys how naming works. Now, naming is something you all know from 1.16.5, and what that did there was it named the target and it evolved it to the next possible evolution, even though there were only 2. Now, in Tensura Reincarnated, the way it works is that you click on the target with the naming key. By default, this is N, and then you get this small pretty GUI here. And the way it works is that you can type in a name, or you can randomize one of them, so it can be a mixture of the staff team, very active users from our Discord, or even characters from the show. Let's say I'm gonna name him Gabiru, for all of our favorite character, Gabiru from the show, of course. Now, you have 3 different options to name this target, to name this lizardman. First is called Subdue, and what that does, it gives the minimum amount of magicules possible to name this target without evolving it, so just to subdue it to make it become your subordinate. The second one is called Evolve Target, and it's going to give the minimum amount of magicules necessary to evolve this target to the next evolution, which is going to be around 150% of the target's max EP. And Endow is going to take 150% of the target's max EP, plus 10 to 50% of your personal EP, which caps at 1 million. But at the same time, while this is very, very OP, it has a high chance of taking your max magic kills away. So by low, there is no chance of taking your magic kills away. By evolve, there's a 5% chance. So by high, for example, let's say you use 1 million magic kills. So by trying to name it, there is a 25% chance of naming taking your max magic kills away. Luckily, it didn't happen to me this time. It only took my temporary magic kills, but there's always the chance of it taking your max magic kills away as well. Now, Gabiru is my subordinate, and I'm gonna tell him to stay, which you can do over 2 different skills as well, one of which is called telepathy and the other one is called thought communication. So how that basically works is that you go into your command prompt, you type telepathy or thought communication, and then you type the command, for example, follow, and then that's a way to enforce your will upon all of your subordinates. Now, Gabiru here, as you can see, has 1000 HP now and 100 armor. Now, the way this works is that it takes the EP, and based off of the EP that it has, it gains health points and armor points, and I believe attack points as well. Now, I'm gonna give him some very powerful items. We'll see how good he looks with all of this. Oh yeah, he's a very cool guy. And now we'll have him fight this bull deer. As you can see, Gabiru is a very powerful very powerful subordinate now with over 1 million EP. He can also fly, he can attack, he can collect items, and he can also heal himself. Now, the 3 modes that you can put on him, as you might have seen already, are follow, wander, and stay. But there's also a few other ones that are really cool from skills that you can't access normally. For example, for starved, I believe it's called rampage or chaos. So basically how it works is that your subordinates attack everything that exists. So there's definitely a lot more flexibility when it comes to subordinates. And it's not really just about having them stay here or wander or follow. I'll be showing off the unique skill, Cook. Now, Cook is a very simple, unique skill with only one main effect, and that is the fact that it eats negative effects and heals the user to completion, so to full HP. As you can see here, my poor little spider, which has a bunch of negative effects on it, along with 21 HP, is going to be completely healed and removed of all negative effects. Now, that is what happens when you look at a mob, but at the same time, if you apply a bunch of effects on yourself, all you have to do is look upwards or anywhere where a mob isn't in order to use the skill properly. So the second skill I'll be showing off is called Guardian, and this is Guild's unique skill. The first mode of which is called Grant Protection, and what Grant Protection does is it grants all of your nearby subordinates / allies extra 10 armor points and 30 barrier points, which means that any damage below 30 is negated at the cost of magic kills. So as you can see here, the black spider isn't taking any damage, but if I hit it with the sword, it's obviously going to take some damage. Now, the second mode is called Substitution, and what it does is it allows the player to take damage in place of any nearby subordinates. So for example, say you're fighting against an Orc Lord and you have infinite regeneration, you don't want your subordinates to die, so you turn on Substitution and then just have all of your subordinates transfer their damage over to you. And the third mode, which is a toggle, is called Iron Wall, and that grants you extra 15 armor points, or 40 with mastery, and 0.4 or 1 with mastery knockback resistance. This allows you, as the player, to be much stronger. And as you can see, I'm barely getting pushed back, and that's not due to damage, that's due to just how Minecraft mobs work. But generally it makes you super strong, and it allows your allies to also take part in some of your strength. Alright guys, that was it for today. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next devlog.